This is the News You Can Use podcast. I am your host with the most, Big Surf God. Tune in live, every day streaming. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video today. We're talking about Trump and the tariff wars. Let's get into it. This is my reaction live. We're just going to get it going.
U.S. President Trump has announced he intends to impose tariffs on pharmaceutical imports, and one of the largest exporters of pharmaceuticals to the U.S. that would be hit by the tariffs? China. Why is the U.S. so worried? Is Trump trying to break up China's strong grip on pharmaceutical imports? China's biotech industry has undergone a sea change in the last few years. 10 years ago, it used to focus on the manufacturing of generic drugs. But in recent years, China started making global headlines with its new innovative drugs and biotech inventions. Ozempic, for example, is the world's top weight loss drug of 2023, with global sales of about $14 billion US. Its maker, Novo Nordisk, is the most valuable company in Europe, with a market capitalization of $521 billion in October 2024. In China, there are several drugs due to be launched within 2025, competing directly with Ozempic. One Chinese drug maker preparing such a release is Innovent Biologics.
我们已经在开展针对 Ozempic 的一个头对头的3期临床实验。就是针对操纵的人群进行这样的实验，我们有信心。
So this is going to affect the American people because if we rely on China for all of our products, for our medicine, for our clothing, everything is going to get a lot expensive. Yes, it's going to be more jobs, maybe, if they don't have AI or some robot making everything for us. So don't think that this won't affect you in your life. Do your research and follow the money. That's what I always say.
已经在3期临床实验里面证明这个马斯路肽的一个有效性。
In China, a number of immunotherapy cancer drugs are in late-stage clinical trials.
Struggling to get your music heard?
Can't do that. But at this time, this is where you can like and subscribe to the video. If you want to tap in with the News You Can Use podcast, we are doing interviews. Tap in with I'm a Brand podcast. We try to bring some of the best news. We have a lot of different hosts going on. Tap in with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow our Instagram. And we're going to continue this video. Let me skip past the commercial. But during this break, I want to take the time to tell you guys about Trapflix. Trapflix is an app that you can download to your phone, Android, or Apple. We have the News You Can Use Trapflix page. CEO and owner, JT the Bigger Figure. Shout out to him. Go check out his No Jumper interview. And then we're going to get back in to this TAPS and this Trump situation.
Been approved for use in the United States.
这个生物制药呢，是新质生产力的非常重要的一部分。目前呢，2023年的数据呢，中国在医药行业的这个市场份额已经在世界上呢占据了差不多30%左右的空间。那么世界呢，在2030年呢，差不多能够实现3万亿美元的这样的规模。如果按照这个层面上来讲，中国呢在2030年呢，医药的这个销售差不多能够到1万亿美元。
State resources are pouring into biotech because the Chinese government considers this a crucial pillar of its new quality productive forces. The Shanghai Center of Biomedicine Development is one of 5 research and transformation platforms in this one city alone. This government-funded center
So if you want to shut down a country, you shut down their money. You shut down the import, the export, and that's what Trump is doing. He's shutting down their import, their export. He's making sure that he shut down their money. If we're gonna go to war with a country or we're gonna do anything of that nature, the first thing you want to go out is the money. And China makes a lot of money off of America. Now, this might not be about a war. This just might be about rebuilding our country and building our infrastructure, on bringing jobs back. There's jobs here, but we need more. The kind of jobs that they're giving right now took away the whole, the jobs that they gave to China took away the whole middle class in America. And to bring the middle class back, we have to bring the jobs back. So what Trump is doing is going to help a whole lot of people. So the average person can make 6 figures a year. A lot of this is going to help our country. A lot of this can help our country. Is it going to burn some bridges and mess up some relationships with other countries? Maybe. A lot of what he's doing from the outside looking in is trying to rebuild America. When he said make America great again, I get exactly what he meant. And this is probably what it's going to take. The man has 4 years to get everything together. So going at pharmaceutical, going at the tech companies, going at import, export, going at border restriction is all part of making sure the American people can live a good life.
Supports over 100 companies annually by providing services in concept validation, pilot production, financing, and regulation support. One of them is Combio Therapeutics.
这个地方呢，就是沈雅中心给我们提供的中视放大的空间。那如果没有沈雅中心提供这么一个地方的话，从那个资金的投入，还包括时间，都这个项目延后至少1年吧。
Combio Therapeutics makes genetically engineered bacterial drugs. The government revamped one of their production lines for the startup in just half a year. What was previously used to manufacture chemical drugs was converted to make biological drugs. The new line significantly reduces production costs for Combio Therapeutics. This sort of state support has helped grow China's EV industry in the past. Now, the same playbook is being applied to new quality productive forces, like biotech.
特别是针对我们一些新赛道的技术跟监管机构的合作，也是相当重要。所以我们在这个过程当中呢，也是发挥统筹资源啊，
由于高质量生活和高质量经济生产和发展这个相关的立法和指导的意见突破100部。
Besides providing for a sizable domestic market, China's major biotech companies all have a strategy for exports. And with Chinese cancer drugs, diabetes drugs, and weight loss drugs costing a fraction of Western pharma brands.
How is this affecting Africa? So I will be doing research and finding out how is this affecting the homeland. China is being affected, but if China is being affected, a lot of other countries are being affected too. So we have to look into everyone. They're just getting us to focus and look one way. Some of these foreign countries are, third world level. Like, it's bad. So let's look into other places, other countries. Let's pray for everyone and make sure, we send our prayers out. But what's going on is going to affect other people. So we have to be mindful of that too.
The global pharma industry is set for a major shakeup in the years ahead.
To start a podcast with Riverside, all you need is a
Let's cut that for a minute. Let's talk. So economically for our country, to bring back those type of jobs in industry, which was automotive, which was in Detroit Motor City, which is clothing, which is a little bit of everything, to bring those jobs back to America would give us a lot of more options for us to work and make money. It would bring back a middle class economy. The housing market is out of control right now. The housing market needs something to be done. But how much is going to be done effectively of now? How much suffering do we have to do? How long will this last? In my opinion, you know, we're in a recession right now. If you have a job, hold on to it. If you got things going on good in your life, don't overspend. It is not time to take that $10,000 vacation. It's just not the time. Anything can happen at these moments. I advise everyone to make sure that they, you know, have 90 days worth of food and water and, you know, be able to protect your home, because you never know what can happen if a war break out, World War III. This can cause so many different problems because it's affecting so many different people, and people are so used to the regular system and the way things been going. Trump is shaking the game up. He is redefining America, and we're watching it happen, and you guys are a part of history right now. So make sure you do your due diligence, do your research, and pay attention to what's really going on. I am Big Surf God, and you know I'm going to give you the truth, the facts only. This is game for sale, and we got to sell some game. Let's get back to it. Let me pull this up.
In 2024, Merck, a leading science and technology company, increased its investment in a collaboration center in Shanghai. An additional 14 million euro investment was made to support new research facilities.
We have a very large number of clinical trials that we are running in China, and we systematically consider as more priority markets for any new development that we do. The other thing which is important to mention is that out of China, and which can serve patients across the globe. And we have done relatively recently some major partnerships with Chinese biotech and biopharma companies, where we licensed in some of their innovations. And the idea is that we co-develop them and bring them not only to Chinese patients, but even to global patients across the world.
With an aging population, China's patient population is also fast expanding. This provides opportunity for more R&D, more clinical trials, and more drug discoveries.
I think China can play a major role in that. Why? Because China has, number one, an extreme wealth of data, given the size of the population, the size of patient populations, number one. And second, I think China has taken also the lead in digitizing all these data. So if we can tap into these data, we will find better solutions for patients and bringing new medicines to patients faster.
China's ambition to go from manufacturer to innovator is just getting started. But the ambition has been fraught with hurdles. In September 2024, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a biosecure bill. This bill forces U.S. companies to cut ties with certain Chinese biotech firms involved in contract drug discovery and manufacturing. Some Western media reports have pointed out that drug shortages and delayed clinical trials for medicines would probably follow from the biosecure bill. In one recent survey of pharma executives, over 90% of respondents indicated that the Biosecure Act's passage would set back their drug pipelines.
I think a lot of this has to do with the pandemic.
During the pandemic, Americans were quite shocked to realize that basic goods were not being produced here in the United States, and they're almost entirely being produced in China. And that, for example, really hurt when basic things like masks, protective equipment, medical devices, they didn't have enough of them during the pandemic. This was a real big wake-up call, particularly for Washington policymakers. And with the instability in the world, particularly tensions between the U.S. and China, this has really led
a lot of those good jobs that they took away from America hurt this country a whole lot. It took away the middle-class citizen. A lot of people were making good money doing these jobs. A lot of people were making good money working at these warehouses and offices and coming up with the different ideas on how to build things. And then it left our country, and then we relied on China for the last 20, 30 years to be our supplier for everything. Then COVID happens, and we have all these restrictions and rules, and COVID came from China, so we didn't want to really take anything from them. And it was our fault. We dug our own grave just to get cheap labor. This was all a money play. It was all about cheap labor. Now they're trying to label it a money play now, but if it's bringing jobs here, and people are going to have to pay $25 an hour when they were paying maybe $8 an hour in other countries, $10 an hour is a lot of money there because of their economy. It's not because, but this is going to affect us globally, and it could affect us in a great way if it's done properly, if it's done right.
New focus by policymakers to try and understand what other vulnerabilities does the U.S. have when it comes to dependencies on China.
President Trump's proposed tariffs are expected to drive up healthcare costs in the U.S. because of its rippling effect.
Great.
For example, China is one of the largest suppliers of active drug ingredients for generic drugs in the U.S., which will likely see a supply chain price increase. In a letter to President Trump in February, the American Hospital Association said that tariffs may reduce availability of cancer and heart medicines, as well as antibiotics like amoxicillin.
But then they're going to have to start coming out with cures instead of medicine just to bill people until they're dead. We need cures for a lot of this stuff. RIP Dr. Sebi. RIP a lot of the doctors that came out and said that, hey, we have cures for cancer and a lot of different things. A lot of it has to deal with mucus, but we're not even going to get into that. That's for another podcast. But your immune system, if it gets too much mucus inside of it, that's what builds disease. But everyone should know that. And if you're not educated, go read a book.
Amoxicillin from China. On the other hand, the proposed tariffs' impact on China pharma exporters.
You know what? Don't just go read a book. Come to the news you can use, and we're going to give you the game and tell you the book to go read.
Will be mixed. While the U.S. is China's largest pharma export market, Chinese pharmaceutical companies have also grown new markets in Europe and the global South in recent years.
So this is my reaction to the tariff war. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, the tariff war, but it's unfortunate that we have to go to these measures to get our country back to where it needs to be. I do believe this is the land of the free. This is one of the most free places you can be, if you ask me. Freely to do as you will. A lot of countries have a lot of different rules and different things going on there. But I'm going to do a part 2 on this. We're going to continue to talk about this because I think it needs to be talked about. But you are now tuned in to the News You Can Use podcast. I am your host with the most, Big Surf God, a loyal American to this country. And I'm going to stand by Trump and what he's doing up to the point where it looks a little funny. God bless everybody, and good night.